Hi guys, this is Wolf, and today we're covering the Warwick reveal, which has been released yet, and my reaction to him is later down the video. But right now, this video is filmed a couple hours before it, and you can check right here. Yeah, he's not revealed yet. This is Wolf from the past. Now, this seems to be a Wolf theme patch, I guess, which is, funny because of the channel name. But honestly, I'm kind of down for it. I'm really interested in what they can do. And I wanted to share a little bit of my expectations mostly for this patch and a little thought on what their design perspective should be. So as to be expected, we'll be covering Warwick today. We'll be covering Ambessa and the patch notes tomorrow. That's probably going to be a longer video because of the patch notes. And then we'll play some of them, hopefully November 6th. So we've learned from the Fiddlesticks update, which was last update, that they are, let's call it sacrificing lore, animations, art, well, not really art. I mean mostly visuals, which I guess come in the form of animation, and also voice lines, they're sacrificing a little bit of flavor, a lot, I would say, in hopes that that makes it easier to release new content for the game. Because right now it is super complicated to release just one champion, right? It takes a lot of coordination and a lot of resources that they don't necessarily have. And a very important thing here is that the updates are heading towards the PvE direction, which means the champions will probably not be released for PvP, and that may upset you, but it's actually for the best. You see, Fiddlesticks is, I think, one of their best champions so far. He is so much fun and he has so many interesting mechanics. Granted, they are mechanics that were already into the game. I don't want to get too much into this, but essentially, nightmares are enemy portals, and Terrify is similar to tossing. So it's not like it's a completely new mechanic, but it is a very interesting mechanic that they built from that. So because of that, if Warwick and or Ambessa sacrifice a little bit of flavor just to have more interesting and more polished mechanics, then yeah, I'm all in for it. Now, I don't want to get too into it because it's a whole topic on its own. It's a much more extensive debate that I can cover in this video and that I want to cover in this video. Shifting your design in terms of champion design to PvE, it has so many implications. And one of the most important ones is that you can toy with mechanics that would not otherwise be viable in a PvP environment. We saw this with Fiddlesticks, where he terrifies and he mills the enemy deck. Now, this is a very cool mechanic, and I think Fiddlesticks achieves this in a sort of balanced way. Obviously there are ways to break it, obviously, but for the most part, I think it's balanced. But if you put that same mechanic, even if balanced, into PvP, then he would be unbearable. We would have one of the worst metas ever. And yes, I do include Azirelia in that list. Just because milling feels awful. Having your opponent mill you is so frustrating, and it removes the element of fun from the card game, right? Just think about the watery grave decks that we see all the time. They just feel so bad to play against. And yeah, Fiddlesticks would pretty much be watery grave as a champion. So I don't think anyone wants to face that on the regular. However, because he is PvE, you can take more chances with your design, and you can make them more entertaining, and you can make them do things that would otherwise be considered unfair, I guess. So if Warwick and or Ambessa do similar stuff, then I'm all in for it. I think that's a fantastic decision on their behalf. As to his abilities and what I think the cards will do, it's really hard to predict because we just talked about how they probably will do something different to have a more entertaining PvE experience. But if we take a look at his league counterpart, Warwick is this sort of durable fighter, right? The number one thing about Warwick is that he heals a lot. So yeah, I expect him to have some sort of regen, maybe conditional regen. In League, he heals based on missing health, so yeah, that could be a little bit hard to achieve in a card game, but I think regen in some shape or form is pretty much necessary for this champion. The second thing he's known for is this ability where he hunts. I think both Ambessa and him will have this sort of hunting mechanic because the text references this. It says here that they make followers of us all. I think this is mostly flavor text. I don't think turning champions into followers is a good mechanic to have in the game, especially not against PvE where you don't face many champions in the first place. I just think I feel like this is just mostly flavor text. But it is interesting flavor text, and it got me excited for the update, even though I don't play any of these champions. Well, I mean, obviously I don't play Mbessa, she's new, but I have not played Warwick in the 12 years I've been playing League. So getting me excited about him was quite an achievement. Back to the abilities, I think some sort of hunting is necessary. Like, if this was PvP, you would see something like damage enemies have vulnerable, right? Some sort of aura like that. And it would be fine for a PvP experience, but that would be boring in PvE. I expect them to go a step further and create a more interesting mechanic around that. And then, of course, we can't really talk about Warwick without talking about Infinite Duress. That is his ultimate, and it is one of the most frustrating ultimates in League to play against because he suppresses you and he also dashes a very long way. I don't know how they can make this into a card game. I was thinking maybe cursing with shackles, but that doesn't feel Warwickish at all. So I don't know. He will have some sort of control, right? But maybe not in the form of cursing. I feel like Warwick is not a cursed champion. I mean, I feel like he's very toxic, but not in a shackle way. Anyway, let's get to the reveal itself, which hasn't happened at the time of recording. Again, this is filmed a couple hours before Warwick is revealed. But yeah, it will happen anytime soon. So I'm really excited. Let's get on with the video. All right, here we are. Look at that. No views 24 seconds ago. Let's freaking do it. All right, after checking 20 times just to be sure I was recording, let's finally do this. I am so excited. Okay, Warwick, not my favorite champion, but look at that splash art. I mean, how can you not like that, right? Okay, let's freaking go. Wait, 50 seconds? Is that okay? Is Riot okay? Okay, Hungers for Blood. Sorry for pausing, by the way. Okay. 3 mana 4/3, I'm not seeing anything else. Sure. Alright, let's pause here. Alright, so PNC Dog, we expected as much. We love to see that. Anyway, 3 mana 4/3. Very decent stats, actually. 3/4 is slightly better. Look at Riven, for instance. But yeah, 4/3 is not bad at all. And play effect, I strike a damaged enemy. Oh, so he has a flock. He is the flock. He is a ravenous flock. Okay, I like that. I mean, it is not an easy condition. Maybe his deck enables that a little bit, but it's not an easy condition to meet to have someone damage on the enemy board, right? And you've dealt damage 12 plus times this game. Is that easy to do? Okay, so it's not complicated, but it could take time, right? So you want a lot of cheap damage. You want a lot of instances of damage. You don't care too much about how much you're dealing. You just want to deal damage a bunch of times. And of course, striking seems to count. Let's keep watching. I'm excited. Okay. Blocking counts as well, obviously. Right. Level. What the? I'm sorry, what? Wait, what I just... sorry I paused, but like, let's watch that again. Okay, so they talked a little bit about how they have like this one animation that's gonna fit a lot of champions. I'm guessing that's the one they're talking about. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan, but I mean the animation was cool. I just expected more. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed by that. Anyway, 3 mana 5/4, good. He gets +1/+1. Still a dog, still PNC. He gains quick attack, that's huge. Huge 3 mana 5/4 quick attack, that's pretty good. So round end, I strike a random damage enemy. Oh, and he keeps the play effect, by the way. Wait, that's so good. It is random and it is only one enemy, so it has its limitations, but it's really good. He is like a removal engine, kind of like Yasuo, I guess, in a way, where he keeps removing stuff from the enemy board so long as you meet that one condition. In the Yasuo case, the enemy has to be stunned, and in this case, it has to be damaged. I like it. And he grows from the heat, so you see that? Yo! Okay, I like this. I think, is there more in these 3 seconds? Okay, probably first view in the video, not gonna lie. Also, yeah, I have, this is a mess. Yeah, so let's take a minute, process what I just watched. Also, he has Ginsos and not other items for whatever reasons. We respect that. Oh, his art. I mean, let's just take a minute. His art just looks so cool. So all of these are already existing cards. I love to see Caustic Rift. I wonder if he can activate Flow. Probably. I guess mushrooms are kind of good for his level up, right? Because every mushroom counts as one instance of damage. I may get that wrong, but I think it is that way. Actually, never mind. I think when you activate multiple mushrooms, it counts as one instance of damage because it used to work differently. It used to be every mushroom deals one. Now it just counts as, 5 mushrooms deal five. That's meant as a counter to tough decks. Not tough decks, sorry, tough nexuses. Anyway, really interesting deck. I don't love that he hasn't got any new followers. I was expecting at least one new card, but I guess if it works and if it ain't broken, that there's no need to fix it. It is a little bit weird to see this card in a deck that probably doesn't want to discard. Like, I don't know what you would discard. I mean, I guess Jury Rig, but other than that, so I don't love that he doesn't have a unique deck to himself. I was expecting a couple new cards, at the very least one new card that synergizes with him. But to be completely fair, I was not expecting Warwick to be this way. So here's an issue I'm finding right now is that he doesn't have any good discard targets. I mean, I guess I would have discarded this. Well, actually, this is really good for the Warwick level up condition. But like, you don't want to discard your Chempunk, do you? And his deck only has Jury Rig to discard, I think. Let me just quickly check that. Yeah, just Jury Rig. So it's an interesting deck. I think it can go places, mostly because of him. But is it the most interesting thing I've ever seen? No, definitely not. The level up, I mean, it's not a bad animation, it's just that we are used to seeing champions get crazy animations. Like you look at Lissandra, you look at Talia, you look at, I don't know, Samira, I guess. There's so many cool ones. I'm probably not even remembering the coolest ones, but just seeing that feels so out of place in this game. And I do get the resources thing. I do get the fact that, why is this so low quality? Okay, that's a little bit better. I do get that they don't have the coordination and resources that it takes to create good polished animations like we were used to, but honestly, just something like Rise would have done. We would have settled for that. I'm really not feeling the new animation. I'm sorry, Riot, if you're watching, which you're not, probably. Also, this art, dude. Riot's art and music teams never disappoint because the music is so good. Can we just take a minute? The music is so cool. And this art, dude, I don't even like Warwick, and he is looking so fine right now. Yeah, like even the sparks here feel good. All right, let's go back here so that I can share my final thoughts with y'all. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed about the level up thing. And to be completely honest, I don't know if I mentioned this in the introduction. I mean, I did, but I think I edited it out in the end. I mentioned that, since Warwick and Ambessa are kind of like hunters and they showed this kind of strength that is associated with Wolf, I thought they would have some sort of Wolf mechanic or keyword. I ended up removing it because I was like, nah, that sounds like probably too much. But I was expecting something cooler, and he is very simple. Like, he's not boring to play. He doesn't give me that impression. I feel like he is interesting to play. It's just that in paper he feels a little bit boring. So I was thinking about it, right? And I was like, this champion is bland. It feels bland, right? So, because yeah, he enters the board and he is a flock, and then you meet that condition, which is not a crazy condition to me. It doesn't like change the way you play the game in any way. And then you get this flock every turn, right? Every turn he flocks an enemy is essentially that, right? Except it deals 5. But the thing is, it's not really a flock, and it is a burst speed strike. I think with strike synergies, Warwick could get crazy. Like you put lifesteal on him and suddenly he becomes crazy. Maybe you put fury on him, he becomes, well, furious, but he also becomes really big, and that means he strikes for more every time. Like there are some cool synergies here. He's not boring to play. He definitely needs some experimenting, I guess. It is kind of giving Yasuo in a slightly less interesting way. That doesn't mean he's not gonna be fun. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna play him. That doesn't mean he's my least favorite champion. That's probably Yumi. Side note. But, he's not my favorite champion. And the fact that his deck is so bland as well, like all of these cards have been in Runeterra. Where are they? I was okay, there we are. All of these cars have been in Runeterra since the beginning, pretty much. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the only new one, and it was added with Seraphine, so it's been in the game for a while. So tomorrow we'll have the release of the patch notes and Ambessa, and of course I will be covering that in a video. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm expecting a lot of stuff from Ambessa, so I do expect her to have a couple of new cards. That would be fantastic, and also I do expect them to have some sort of cosmetic. Like, I get it, skins are a troublesome topic because the game is focused on PvE, so why would you want skins for PvE? Like, I get it. Bottom line is we want new stuff. Right, that is like I think the whole LoR community is like, we want new stuff, and you just gave us something that is cool, but it's not something we lose our sleep over, right? When you think about the Lurk reveal, Lurk was such a fascinating archetype. When you think about Fiddlesticks, he was so cool and original. I hope Ambessa achieves that because Warwick right now feels a little bit bland, and the fact that he has no new cards is kind of an issue for me, honestly. Same with the level up animation. I'm not a fan at all. But yeah, I am expecting big things from Riot. I hope they don't lose track of what's important. Also, I don't usually do this, but I scroll down to read the comments, and I feel like, yeah, the vibe is the same. We are sacrificing a lot of flavor, and I mean a lot, and without the level up animation, it's just way too much, I think, for the sake of mechanics and new champions, and the fact that we get something that is so bland. Just feels really disappointing, is the word, I guess. And I get that the general vibe of the community, yeah. The art is amazing as always. Music is amazing as always, but we are sacrificing way too much. This feels very generic. This feels like a champion anyone could have designed, is what I'm saying. And I get that Warwick is meant to be simple. I get that Warwick is meant to be easy to play, but there are so many cooler things that you could have done with him. And also, I just wanted to quickly mention that we have not seen his champion spell. We don't know what that is yet. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully it brings more to the table. It adds something to Warwick, but it's probably something like an ally strikes a damaged enemy, like something like that, right? So yeah, in general, I would say it is kind of a disappointment, this one. Yeah. So of course I forgot to check Twitter. My bad. Here are his star powers, and let's read them together. Eternal Hunter 1. Allies have +1 power for every 7 times you've dealt damage this game. Pretty good. 7 times feels like a lot, but it's actually achievable, right? It's easy to do. It's a sort of scaling power. I like that. Okay, it's not bad. And then we get to Primal Howl. That is his second star +1 starting mana. Cool, we expected as much. And Roundstar create a Blood Hunt in hand, or if you already have one, reduce its cost by 1. Now, Blood Hunt we'll check in a minute. It's the following image, right? It's this thing. We'll check in a minute. Hunger 2. Allies have +1 for every 5 times you've dealt damage to this game. So easier to achieve, but still, still +1. Should be good, actually. That actually feels good. 5 times, way easier to achieve, and you can scale it off much quicker. Wounded Prey, when an enemy with 2 plus health is summoned, deal 1 to it. Oh, that is pretty good. Oh, that's really good. Wait, that power is insane. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Very, very good for Warwick. Very, very good in general. Just allows to do a lot of stuff with it. Really flexible spell, really, or power, I should say. Mana flow, cool. And then Eternal Hunger 3, legendary. Allies have +1/+0 for every 3 times you've dealt damage to this game. So scaling way quicker now. When an ally kills a unit, heal it fully and grant it 3 health and impact. So, okay. So what I'm getting is Warwick is bland, is, simple. It's a little bit lackluster, honestly. No shade, but he is. And then you get to the star powers, and it all kind of works out. We'll read Bloodhunt in a bit, but yeah, I'm liking what I see actually. Warwick Actually kind of fun. Especially this thing where he gains health. I was wondering where the regen was. I was like already furious at Riot for not giving him regen, but yeah, it is his 3-star power. He is 6-star power. I got confused because it has a 3 here. Anyway, let's check the new card. So Blood Hunt is also Warwick's signature spell. Okay, good. Now we have it. Says deal one to a unit or nexus and one to another. Then grant all damage enemies vulnerable. That's exactly what I mentioned would be if this was PvP, and it was like, nah, that's too boring. Yeah. Offer me a job at Riot if this is what you're giving us. Create a Warwick in your deck, obviously, because it is his champion spell. You would not create a Warwick in the one you create from your star power, by the way. Yeah, I mean, sure, you damage the Nexus, you damage two enemies or one. Sure, it's fine. It is 3 mana though. It is a little bit expensive. I would maybe 2 mana would have been better. But it's okay. It enables your Warwick. It enables your deck. It is 2 instances of damage, so it's fine. So final thoughts. I would say that Warwick is very bland, but his constellation is definitely carrying him as a champion. He definitely gets more interesting with the vibe of the champion. He's like very bland, and he has like no animations, no voice lines, no effects, I guess. So that's a little bit disappointing, but yeah, I mean, it's fine. The constellation really feels good, so I'm excited to try it out. Anyway, that's all from me for now. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.